Set up this afternoon on a feeder here in North Texas. Started out this morning with really wet, nasty weather.
Hi folks, it's Luke Clayton and we're going to make some chili. You know, for probably 35 years I have made a chili in a certain way. I use
Welcome to A Sportsman's Life. We're so glad you tuned in to join us for another exciting real-world outdoor adventure right here on A Sportsman's Life.
Set up this afternoon on a feeder here in North Texas. Started out this morning with really wet, nasty weather. Then yesterday was even nastier, rained like crazy. The sky's kind of cleared up. Got a wind blowing about 30 miles an hour out of the southeast, southwest, south. Supposed to turn out of the north later this evening. When it does, we'll cool off a little bit. Sitting way back, not very far from a river, and looks like there've been a lot of hogs here in the past. So, hunting with a 44 mag Taurus Raging Hunter, 240 grain XTP, Trijcon's SRO sight, and hoping that something will show up besides whitetail deer. Deer season's been closed for a while now. Sitting in a ground blind that was set up a couple of days ago. Hopefully something will show up. Got 2 cameras we're working with and we'll see what happens. Not, we'll be back here tomorrow again as well too, or maybe in another blind. See if we can find something, or maybe even try to call a coyote or call a turkey. Just kind of see what happens.
Brought to you by Dallas Safari Club, Conservation, Education, and Hunter Advocacy. Hornaday, accurate, deadly, dependable. Taurus Firearms, maker of the Raging Hunter. Trigicon, brilliant aiming solutions.
Hi folks, it's Luke Clayton and we're going to make some chili. You know, for probably 35 years I have made a chili in a certain way. I use wood smoke, I smoke the chili, and contrary to many of my fellow Texans, I put beans in my chili. Well, a great friend of mine, Roger Foltz, won 2 of the Terlingua chili cooking contest a few years ago. Placed first place in one of them and second place in the other. Now, Roger gave me some of the chili kit, if you will, from Pendry Seasonings in Fort Worth. Comes to find out, there's a little bit of history to this. Pendry's is the oldest family-owned company in Texas. They make all kind of spices. You can find them online. Pendry's spices, you know. Well, this kit is that's offered through Pendry's is the exact recipe that Roger used to win these chili cooking contests at Terlingua with a few years ago. So I'm going to break away from my old habit of making smoked chili over a wood fire, and honestly, this looks a lot easier. I'm going to kind of show you step by step how it's done, but the only thing, Roger, if you're listening and I'm watching, and I know you are at some point, I'm going to use some wild ground pork. It's good pork, it's good meat. It has about 80-20 fat to lean consistency. So I'm going to use that, and not going to put any beans in it, and I'm not going to use any wood smoke. So folks, you know, kind of an interesting deal. I've took some notes on this, but back in 1870, Mr. DeWitt Pendry arrived in Fort Worth and started this spice company. I mean, it's really a lot of interesting history. And by 1890, he was selling to local, I guess, cafes and restaurants, you know, his spice blends. But this spice blend that you can get at Pendry's is called Attitude Adjustment. That's what you look for. You know, it's pre-made for different poundages of meat. So what we're making is for 2.5 pounds of beef, of course, but we're using the ground pork. So a lot of history behind this, and Roger, anybody that can win the 2 Terlingua, win first place in 1 Terlingua contest and second place the same day, my cap is off to you, buddy. So I'm cooking your chili right now. Let's get over here to the old camp stove, and that's something that I usually don't cook on. I usually cook on wood, but we're doing it on a camp stove, so let's go check it out. Okay, my friends, here are the 4 bags of Pendry's Attitude Adjustment, the exact recipe used by my buddy Roger Foltz to win first place in one of the Terlingua chili cooking contest and the second place in another one of the contests on the same day. Now, the first 2 packets, these 2 right here, go in with the tomato sauce and the beef stock there. So we're going to put these in a pot. I'll show you the pot, what we're doing right now. So we have to dissolve these in with the beef stock. Actually, about 2 cans I went ahead and put in that, and then the tomato sauce. Okay, my friends, we have the first 2 packets of the ingredients with the chicken broth. Folks, I'm sorry, I said chicken broth there, but it should be beef broth. And over here we have, this is way different than the way I usually make chili. I'm really anxious to see how it turned out. As the instructions denote, you go ahead and fry your ground meat, and this is actually ground pork. I know Roger is going to say, where's your ground beef? But I've got a bunch of ground pork. It'll be good chili. It's about the same fat content as the beef that Roger recommends. So right here is our ground beef, and we're going to simmer all the ingredients together a little bit, and then we're going to follow instructions, and we'll be right back with you. Well, folks, we have been simmering this for about 25 minutes, and according to instructions, this 4th bag of attitude adjustment goes in just before we get ready to eat it. So there it is. All of the goodness is in there. Let's make sure and stir it up so that it'll blend well with everything else. And then we're going to put this in a bowl with some crackers, and we're going to sample it. What do y'all say? Look at this. Now look at the color of that. Haven't tasted it yet, but I can smell it. Other than the smoke, the way I usually cook chili, I think I'm going to like this. Okay, folks, we're dishing up a bowl of this right here. Got quite a bit in there. Don't want to get too heavy on it here. It's a little bit early in the morning for a great big bowl, but trust me, I can eat chili any time of the day. A little more of the juice in there. Let's take that over to the old picnic table, folks, and put some crackers on it and give it a test run. What do you say?
A Sportsman's Life is also brought to you by Air Force Air Guns, AGM Global Vision, H3 Whitetail Solutions, Pyramid Air, Gear the Hunt, Snaplock Hunting Blinds, Smoke and Tex, Striper Express, TRHP Outdoors, and Ultramatic Feeders. Conservation Today is brought to you by Hayden Outdoors Real Estate, the brand that sells the land. Visit HaydenOutdoors.com to find or sell your farm, ranch, or recreational property.
When it comes to a choice of whether to graze cattle or not, it really kind of depends on what your long-term goals are. Cattle grazing as a whole is not bad unless it's totally overdone and you overgraze the property. But there's a little bit of good in that as well too, because you remove a lot of the grass cover and then a lot of the weeds and the wildflowers can come up that have probably been there for a long time anyway. Whether you graze cattle or not, as I mentioned, comes long-term goals. If you're really interested in wildlife, you probably want to carry on a rotational grazing type system, or you may want to totally pull the cattle off of it for a while, such as I've done here on my place. I'm Larry Weissoon, and appreciate you being with us this morning on Conservation Today. Brought to you by Hayden Outdoors, the brand that sells land.
Okay, we're back, folks. The huntress, tell us what happened.
Well, there's two moms that came in with little, what I would call middle schoolers.
Middle schoolers, yeah, I would say that.
Teenagers yet.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to take out any of the small ones because they just weren't big enough, and I didn't want to take out one of the moms. So then this one happened about, and she looked like she was dried up or near too. And she was the largest one, and she was away from the rest of them, so I thought it would be best to go for her.
Hog down. Good job, dear. Congratulations. All right, now the work begins. We want to thank you for joining us here on this week's episode. Please join us right back here next week for another exciting adventure on A Sportsman's Life.